My brother, I think that this is something that we all must not take lightly. And I think that it is in order to commend the Ghana Immigration Service for this bold initiative. Like I said last week, this issue is likely to have national security implications in the future. We simply cannot afford to leave our borders ajar and allow any other person under the guise of free movement, under the ECOWAS protocols, to engage in all kinds of activities that we consider improper on our streets.
Right.
Because, like I indicated, it has serious implications on our international commitments when it comes to child safety and the UN goals in particular. And for me, this is heartwarming. For the first time, I get the sense that we are dealing with a government that is willing to allow state institutions to work and give the necessary direction for these state institutions to actually do what they are mandated under our laws to do. I just hope that they will do so in conjunction with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because I know that many of these embassies will begin to make strong cases for their citizens. And on my way here, on another sister station, of course, I think your station, City FM, I heard them make the point that indeed at the site, they have also made arrangements, the GIS for that matter, they have made arrangements for health screening, and in case of any medical emergency, there's a standby medical team to handle that. This is clearly in line with our international protocols when it comes to how you deal with foreign nationals in your country. And so this is commendable. We must commend the Ghana Immigration Service, and this must not be a one-day wonder. It must be continued. We must see that commitment to clearing our streets. We must see that commitment on the part of African governments to protecting the future of our young children. For me, that is the crux of the matter.
Wow.
We must show them another way of livelihood. It doesn't have to be begging on our streets. Let us demonstrate that commitment starting from today. And I cannot help but admire the industry of the Minister of National Security and Interior Minister, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, because he played an instrumental role in this particular initiative, and he needs to be commended.
Wow.
Such swift intervention is what we need from many of our state institutions, and they must take a cue from it.
Very well. Thank you, Hamza. Engineer, let me come to you. This is not the first time this type of soup or cleanup is happening. It's happened before. But these persons move through our borders into our country and into our cities. Ironically, it's the same Ghana Immigration Service that is supposed to scrutinize their entry and everything. So how do we deal with this holistically, stop it at the entry point, even before they get into the cities?
Yeah, borders are very difficult to control at 100%. So we can understand some of those challenges very clearly. But beyond that, when they come into the cities, they stay in certain places and we see them on a regular basis. Now, when they have come into the city, sometimes it's not easy to tell whether the person is a Ghanaian or a non-Ghanaian. But there are clearly rules that our district assemblies need to enforce. The question is, are the district assemblies doing that? Because we shouldn't have said they are Nigerians before the Ghana immigration response, or we say they are Nigerians. No. The issue is that people should not be allowed to loiter on the streets, especially children. But our assemblies look on as though there are no rules by which we work in this country. And for me, those are some of the things that our assemblies themselves need to look at. Borders, we can do our best to improve border security and checks, but it is not, you cannot have 100% border security, especially if you look at the history of our nations, where we were split arbitrarily by other people and decide that you must stay here, you are this, you are called Ghana, you are called Niger, you are called Togo and all that. Because clearly, if you go to certain parts of all these countries, you will realize that there are people on the borders who have families right across. So it is difficult to really say that, hey, these are Nigerians, these are Ghanaians sometimes. I mean, we are dealing with a very fine line because of this colonial experience of ours. So yes, we must treat them humanely, but at the end of the day, in terms of enforcing laws in this country, our district assemblies need to set up and ensure that they don't leave our streets and then everybody sits down and decides to become a beggar or anything like that. It's not just about the Nigerians or Nigerians, but also Ghanaians who are on the streets begging and using children and all that. So those are the things that we...
a beggars and
exactly. There's an industry that is growing that we need to check. So I think that the assemblies themselves need to set up. It is not just a GIS problem, it is an assembly problem.
Right.
When we have allowed people to just come and live on the streets, people get up, like a lot of your newsmen always say, people are bathing on the streets, all manner of things every morning and every day. So for me, the assemblies need to set up.
Right. Dennis, let me come to you, and then maybe we can look at employing our diplomatic relations to help address some of these issues.
I'm not so sure if, I mean, I stand on all the protocols, but I'm not so sure if diplomacy has anything to do with this. It's about the economic situations. I think it's about survival. Right. Even if you are best of friends with the country and their people feel that it's Ghana that they can run to, and you know the situation in the Sahelian is a major cause of this. I mean, some of the people are not just fleeing economic situations, they're also fleeing for safety. You know, and if you look at the statistics, I was listening to this morning by Bernard and Co. Out of the numbers arrested, over 2,000 are Nigerians. Yeah. 2,000. And then I think a few hundreds Nigerians and all of that. And like engineer and council have said, it's a complicated matter. I think that the GIS should just keep up with it and see if it can begin to serve as some deterrence to the people. I mean, it's okay even if you found yourself, it's not okay, but if you found yourself illegally in a country, you should look out for proper economic ventures than to be on the street and become a nuisance. And the most difficult aspect is even where you see the mothers using the children as baits. And I understand some of them are really making money, you know, off the kids. Because, you know, they throw these, and usually I think they are twins. They wear Barcelona jerseys, you know, and then they knock on your windows and you give them money and then they run and give it to their parents and come back on the streets.
But I'm also told there's another way of trafficking. They actually have ringleaders.
Yes, and then
so
bring them.
The jerseys they wear is actually to identify them as belonging to a certain woman or ring.
Right.
You know, and they sit under, and usually the parents are there. A lot of times the mothers are somewhere actually watching them. You know, so I think that the immigration service should keep up with this. For the district assemblies, before we can get the engineer, then we need to, as a country, look at the structures first. Because the assemblies don't have the capacity. They don't. Even our own, you know, citizens who go through distress with domestic violence and domestic issues, we don't even have shelters and places to keep them. I remember when I was an MC, it was always a dilemma that you have a situation in the middle of the night and you have nowhere to take them. We don't have structures as a country, you know, so it's about resource, it's about structures, it's about ensuring that these systems are in place first. Then the local government system can support. But for now, I don't think they can support that. Maybe with GIS keeping up, it would serve as a deterrent and not be a motivation. Because if you listen to the Niger story, it's like Ghana is the America or the UK to them. You know, once they are coming down south, let's go to Ghana. Because it's the place where you can walk freely and nobody, you know, does anything to you. Finding the Nigerians is not so difficult. The Nigerians are the most difficult part because they are almost like us. They are almost, until you speak to some of them, you would never know or think that they are not Ghanaians. And so it's a worry. The burden, and then even security-wise, a lot of them are also involved in a lot of the crime you are seeing around. So, kudos to the Ghana Immigration Service and the Interior Ministry.
Councillor, I'm coming to you on legal matters in this. There's a Beggars and Destitutes Act. So, I mean, enforcement will make the enterprise unattractive. Because this act criminalizes begging in the country.
It does. But you see, Nana, like my brother indicated, we are not just dealing with citizens of the Republic of Ghana. We are dealing with people who have had to run here largely because of the conflict situations in their respective countries. And Ghana owes some duties or responsibilities when it comes to certain protocols, either under ECOWAS or even the African Union, and to a very large extent, even the United Nations. So you simply cannot be seen applying these kind of punitive measures based on your own internal laws on people who are running away from conflict-prone zones. And quite clearly, the statistics are clear. A chunk of them are coming from Niger, and we know the situation in Niger. So that is the reason why I called for a collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so at least they can engage with authorities who are present. For instance, the embassies from these countries. They can have meaningful engagements as to how to deal with this issue. We should not just be focusing on the punitive measures. In any case, they are Africans, and we owe some responsibilities towards each other. But it doesn't mean that they should also take advantage of our laws and break them at will. So if there are cases that are peculiar, that we feel that there's the need for them to be subjected through the laws of the country, the punitive laws, so be it. But until we make an effective collaboration and begin to understand and appreciate the numbers and the reasons why they are on the streets, it will be improper for us to start using punitive measures as a deterrent, because it would have a blowback. We have some of our citizens too in these countries. It can lead to retaliation. So there's the need for us to respect that diplomatic relationship that we have established in the name of Africa and see what we can do as an important country within that bloc. You see, Dennis is right. Ghana is an attraction point not only for people suffering from conflict. We are the gateway to Africa. Even Nigerians have started relocating to Ghana because they feel safe and they feel comfortable here. And that brings us to an important admission, especially I'm making reference here to my senior comrade, that irrespective of how we have come, as far as our democratic journey is concerned, sometimes we need to be easy on ourselves. We have done so well, irrespective of the political parties we belong to. And so sometimes we must begin to see the cup as being half full rather than being half empty. Because we have done so well if you compare us to most of African countries in terms of the kind of stability that we have been able to engender as far as our democracy is concerned. Let us stab ourselves in the back and know that indeed this is a journey that we are on, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to get every other thing right. But punitive measures, no. Sure. This is the time for us to activate our diplomatic channels and see how we can work around this issue.